What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 28. Hard to believe we've been doing it this long with so few views. But if you send this to your friends and they like and subscribe, the algorithm is gonna boost us to the top, so give it a shot. We are gonna talk about the 3 decisions that'll change your life. But I'm gonna start that off by a story because I think it's a lot more practical for me to share with you guys some real things that I did in my life that have put me in a better position. When I was 20, I took a voyage up to the state of New York to spend 1 month with my dad for the first time in my life. And it's not that I hadn't met him before or I hadn't talked with him before. I just had never really spent any meaningful chunk of time physically with my father. It was during that drive that I spent a lot of time reflecting on where I was mentally. I wasn't happy. I wasn't motivated. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was 20 years old. Up until that point, I had spent a lot of time, money, energy on all the wrong stuff, people, decisions, etc., you name it. So it was really important to me to figure out what I needed to change. I think the simplest answer is that after I spent the month with my dad, these are the following things that I changed that made the biggest impact. I started working out. I started to try hard in college. I quit smoking cigarettes. I started dating a girl, and I moved out on my own and started learning another language. It kind of sounds like a superhero endeavor when I look back on it and you look at the list of changes that I made, but at the end of the day, what it came down to was me willing to become a tryhard again. My entire early childhood, I wanted to please any adult figure that was in my life, and I was definitely a goody two-shoes. I did a full reversal on that, and we had to work our way back around, do a 180 to get back in that right direction. It seems like a lot of things changed. I got into great shape, I worked my way through college, and I graduated debt-free. I've been able to learn a second language and build some really cool relationships in my life. But if we're gonna break it down to the basic formula here, first most important thing is that it came down to effort. Prior to this moment in my life, I wasn't wanting to put forward any meaningful effort in anything in my life. Felt lame, felt uncool. You kind of have to give up on the idea of being cool in order to get things that you want in life. And then once you have a couple of those things, you will be perceived as cool again. But that should not be the reason why you get into it to begin with. We said it's effort, but if we're gonna break this down, effort towards what? I'm always gonna tell you guys that I think effort directed at making sure you like yourself when you look in the mirror is extremely important. And I don't just mean physically, but I do mean physically. If you feel like when you see yourself in your mind's eye or in the front of the mirror that you like what you see because you make promises to yourself and you keep them, and you like what you see because you treat your body as a temple and not a dumpster, I think that's a step in the right direction. It doesn't take but one trip for me to go to Walmart and realize that 70% of the people shopping for their groceries can't do this right now. I accept everybody, and I think everyone should accept themselves, and I do think everybody should love themselves, but I think that we're lying to ourselves if we see something that we don't like and we try to convince others that it's great. I'm not gonna get into the details on that, but physical, mental, social, and then of course career. Those first 3 absolutely will help you get a better 4th. So if you work on who you are physically and make sure that you're in shape, you work on who you are mentally and grow your intellect, and you work on your social skills, and you overcome your disadvantages when dealing with people, you will be able to find a better job. You'll become the person that earned that better job. Chances are right now, the only thing in your life that you have with any level of consistency is the job, because you all have bills, but you probably hate your job and you're thinking, I'm insane because I'm telling you that going to the gym is gonna get you a better job. And I 100% stand by that. It may not be the gym though. It might be pickleball, could be going for a skateboard session, could be going on a run or a bike ride. I don't care what it is. If you take care of your physical body, you will have better opportunities in life. You'll like yourself more. If you like yourself more, you'll be easier to deal with when talking to strangers. And if you can talk to and get along with anybody, you're gonna find things that interest you. And if you pursue the things that interest you, you'll be able to learn about them, therefore growing your intellect. It's all connected, but you have to start somewhere. People think life changes because of big moments, but it usually changes because of environments, and it usually changes because of work. I had to put in the work daily in order to make meaningful changes in my life that did change my environment, and it's all related, it's all a part of an ecosystem. I did this when I was 20, and I think about it all the time when people come through my doors for an interview, and I realize that the person I'm talking to is 28 years old and has not yet started on that voyage. And here I am, I started on the voyage of self-growth at the age of 20, when I was, by by all measures of the word, still pretty much a child. The sad fact is that the 28-year-old becomes a 38-year-old in the blink of an eye. And the 20-year-old me became a 35-year-old just about to be 36-year-old me very quickly. Yes, I've accomplished a lot of things in that time. And yes, I have carved out some sense of security for myself, but it took a hell of a lot of work. And I'm so glad I started when I was 20 and not 36. So the same message to you guys, if you're 28 and you haven't started yet, you will regret it, because one day you will be 38 and you will have never started the voyage, and you'll wonder whether it's worth it to start now. And the answer, of course, is yes if you're 38. The best person any of you guys should be watching, if you think you're older than I am or know that you're older than I am, is Gary Vaynerchuk, because he's an entrepreneurial spirit. He's going to tell you all the things that you need to hear in order to improve your life, and he doesn't really care if you're 45 or you're 55 and you're watching his content, because there's still a place for you guys to find success in your life, even at that age. But if you're watching this video and you're in your early 20s, get moving. Don't waste time. Your job trains you whether you realize it or not, and you train you while you're on the job. It's going to set up your income ceiling, your confidence, and your habits. One of the things that happens all the time when I meet strangers is they inevitably ask me, where do I work? And trust me, I ask them the same thing, because I kind of want to know the perceived caliber of the person that I'm talking to, and I realize that it's probably a very shallow way to go about things, but it also helps me strike up better conversation if I know anything about the line of work that they're in. When someone asks you, where do you work? Do you tell them with pride, or do you have a little bit of shame in your response? You can do something about that. You don't have to be ashamed of where you work, even if you don't work anywhere that's got tons of accolades. You can find pride in any job. This answer doesn't have to be hurtful or helpful to you in whatsoever, but if you're in any way unhappy with where you work, it's going to come through in your answer, and you're going to be ashamed to tell people what you do. I just so happen to love what I do every single day. That doesn't change the fact that there are thousands, if not millions, of people with really, really harsh opinions about my line of work. But I love what I do, and I believe in a brighter future for the type of work I do, so I really don't care if people judge me. And fortunately, most people, even if they think that I'm the devil for the type of work that I do and it's not this podcast, do not have the courage to tell me to my face, which to me just brings me a sense of joy and pride that they have to remain a keyboard warrior while I can walk out here with my head held high and my shoulders back. You guys know this. I really believe in the power of writing down some tasks to start your day. You will watch videos where they talk about some of the most successful billionaires in the world and how they don't write down their tasks. But listen, are you a billionaire? I'm not a billionaire. Write down your tasks. Give yourself that little dopamine boost of crossing something off your list and keeping a commitment with yourself. You'll thank me later. It's who you spend your time with. It's important. Part of that is shared with your workplace, because you spend more time at a job than you do any other task in your life. But sometimes you can't control the caliber of your coworkers unless you change your job. Who you're spending your time with is so important, because you're going to start to borrow things from them, even if you don't respect those things about that other person. They will start to become who you are. I feel like in my close circle, all of the people that I'm with and around, they're not hustle culture, grinding, but they are people who care about what they do, have integrity, and try to be good people. And I think that that's really important, because that's what I try to emulate in my friends. Your standards are going to adjust to whoever you're around the most. So if they're not saving their money, they're not exercising, they're complaining, they're not changing anything or improving anything about their life, and they're just drifting and aging as you go along, you're going to find it real easy to fall into that pattern and be comfortable like two bugs snug in a rug with no hug and a mean mug. So if instead the people in your circle are learning, they're earning, they're yearning for something better in their life, then that's what you're going to try to do, and you're going to try to emulate. And if you ever find yourself being in a circle of people who are like that and you're getting the boot, you might not be making the cut, and it's a good time to have a wake-up call, but it almost never happens, because like minds attract like minds. Those people who are out there trying to make themselves into the best versions of themselves possible, they're usually not inviting you to the function if you're a negative Nancy. Be a positive Percy, be a progressive person who changes the negative things about their lives, and those awesome people that are out there in the world every day, they're gonna come and find you. As always, guys, thanks for watching this episode. Hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next week.